Hi everyone, welcome to another lesson on IELTS reading in our task types and procedures series. My name is Angel Amayo at Rapid Learning. IELTS reading has a total of 14 task types for both its academic and general training modules. The procedures for completing the tasks in both modules are the same. In my previous videos, I demonstrated the procedures for tackling matching features, matching information, and matching headings. In this video, I'm going to show you the correct procedure to locate your answers in another task type called matching sentence endings. There are 6 steps you can take to complete each task in matching sentence endings. The first step, as always in answering any IELTS reading task type, is to survey all parts of the text, starting from its title to its last paragraph, to get an idea of its subject matter. Let's do that now. We go to the text. This is the first paragraph of our example passage on your screen. It has a matching sentence ending task type. We look at the title. It says fair games. It has a question mark at the end of it. It sounds like, are the games fair? We might ask, what games? But we cannot know until we read through the text. It is always important to try to decode the subject matter of a reading text from its title before reading it. A clear recognition of the subject matter of a text alone will eventually give you the knowledge to identify nonsense options that you can eliminate, leaving only reasonable ones to compete for the answers. We are now surveying the other paragraphs of the text from top to bottom. And we see that the paragraphs are not lettered like they are in the matching features question type, unlike the way they are in the matching headings and the matching information task types, where each paragraph is represented by a letter. They have no headings either. Here is the final paragraph of the text. The first step is now complete. This first step should take only a few seconds. The second step is to read the task directions carefully to confirm that it is a matching sentence endings task type, and make sure to follow instructions. What do I mean by the task directions? Let's take a look. Here are what I mean by the task directions, the sentences at the top. The first sentence is the instruction that asks you to complete each sentence by finding the correct ending for each of them. It says, complete each sentence with the correct ending A to K below. The list of sentence endings has options A to K, and the beginnings are questions 14 to 18. The second task direction is another instruction that tells you how to write down your answers. It says, write the correct letter A to K in boxes 14 to 18 on your answer sheet. If you fail to follow this instruction on how to write down your answers, they will be marked as incorrect. So we can see that the matching sentence endings task type provides a list of sentence beginnings from the passage to the left of the layout and a list of their possible endings indented to the right for you to choose from to complete each sentence. The second step is now complete. We have seen that it is a matching sentence endings task type. IELTS examiners designed this question type to assess your ability to recognize the focus of the theme of a paragraph inside a single sentence, which is contrastive in a sense to matching headings that requires you to identify the theme of the whole paragraph. In other words, matching headings assess your knowledge of the theme at paragraph level, whereas matching sentence endings evaluate your focus on the theme at sentence level. Also, do not confuse this question type with sentence completion, where the completion may be done in any part of the sentence. Matching sentence endings and sentence completion are two different task types. You will see what sentence completion looks like in my next video. Your task in our current question type, matching sentence endings, is to match each sentence ending to its correct beginning. The third step in matching sentence endings is to read the sentence beginning that you want to match to identify and understand its keywords. Let's do that now. Looking at the list of sentence beginnings 14 to 18, we are reading the first one to identify its keyword, bids to become a host city. We can see that the most important keyword is bids. It is the head word of the whole sentence beginning. It is also a plural noun with S. The remaining part is a to infinitive clause, to become a host city, which allows us to understand this sentence beginning to mean that cities bid to become a host city. City qualified by the word host, so that we have host city as another key phrase in this sentence beginning. Therefore, we have two important keywords in this sentence beginning, bids and city. City described as host city. Step 3 is now complete. We have identified the keywords. The next step, step 4, is to search for the theme of bids that cities make to become a host city in the passage, starting in the first paragraph. It might take us more time to look at this first one, but others should take less time because the sentence beginnings occur in the text in the order in which they appear in the list. In this case, 14 to 18. In other words, we should find number 14 first, followed by number 15, and so on in that sequential order. If we find number 15 or any other number first, incidentally, we will know we need to scan backwards for number 14. In order to excel in the process of searching for the location of each sentence beginning in the text, the grammatical concepts of subject and predicate will be useful. Subject and predicate are the two parts into which any simple sentence can be divided. The three sentences now on the slide are provided only to illustrate the concepts of subject and predicate. They are not from our example passage. The subject of a clause is the part without the verb, which represents the person or any entity that does an action, or the part about which something is said. It could be a noun, a pronoun, or a noun phrase, and the examples in the sentences are noun phrases highlighted in yellow. Saltwater crocodiles in the first one, the crocodile populations in the second one, and many northern pioneers in the third one. The predicate, on the other hand, is the part containing a finite verb, which says something about the subject. Examples are the parts highlighted in turquoise in the sentences on your screen, are native to many Indo-Pacific regions in sentence 1, made a remarkable comeback over the next decade in sentence 2, and hunted the saltwater crocodile for its skin in the post-Second World War era in sentence 3, each of which makes a statement about its subject. In this IELTS question type, each sentence beginning contains a subject with a head word, and each sentence ending contains its predicate. In the case of this number 14, bids to become a host city, the plural noun bids is the subject, the head or keyword, and it is qualified by a to infinitive clause, to become a host city. Bids to become a host city represents the subject about which something has been said in the passage. But what has been said about it in the passage, we don't know yet. It is why we have to read the passage first before looking at the list of sentence endings to know which one matches it. Whatever is said about bids to become a host city in the text will be the correct sentence ending for it. It is possible that more than one thing has been said about bids to become a host city in the passage. If so, only one will appear in the list of endings so that we can only have one correct answer. It is not possible to have more than one of the things said about bids to become a host city in the passage. All the endings in the list of options, A to K, will occur in the passage, but some will not match any of the sentence beginnings. Let's go and scan through the text carefully for bids to become a host city before we can come back here to choose anyone that matches it. We begin in the first paragraph. The subject of the first sentence of the paragraph is the world. It reads, the world is briefly arrested by the captivating, dizzying spectacle of athleticism, ambition, pride, and celebration on display at the Summer Olympic Games. We are looking for bids to become a host city, or its paraphrase. We can't find it here. The subject of the second sentence is host cities. It reads, host cities are often left awash in high debts and costly infrastructure maintenance, whereas we are scanning for bids to become a host city, or its paraphrase. We cannot find it here. The third sentence is a compound sentence. The subject of its first clause is the staggering expenses involved in the successful Olympic bid. Even if the word bid is in it, we cannot understand it to mean bids to become a host city. In the second clause of the compound sentence, the subject is host cities. It reads, host cities are shortchanged and their taxpayers for generations to come are left settling the debt. We are looking for bids to become a host city, or its paraphrase. It is not here either. So we have not found it in this first paragraph. We must proceed to the next one to continue our search there. The subject of the first sentence of the next paragraph, this one now on your screen, is a noun phrase, Olympic extravagances. It reads, Olympic extravagances begin with the application process. We are looking for bids to become a host city, or its paraphrase. It is not in this first sentence. We read the next one and we find a paraphrase of bids as the subject. Bidding in bidding alone. It reads, bidding alone will set most cities back about $20 million. We can understand bidding in bidding alone to mean bidding to become a host city of the Summer Olympic Games, because from this clause itself, we can understand that it is the cities that bid to host the Olympic Games that are set back about $20 million. Bidding here is semantically equivalent to bids to become a host city. We have found what we're looking for. They are synonymous in this context, bidding and bids. We should now identify what is said about it at this point. It is said that it will set most cities back about $20 million. In the second clause of the sentence, we see bidding again as the subject. Also, we should identify what is said about it this time around. It is said that bidding takes 2 years for cities that make the shortlist, while most cities can expect to exhaust a decade working on their bid from the moment it is initiated to the announcement of voting results from International Olympic Committee members. We read the third sentence, the next one. And we see that the subject is still a reference to bidding, which is referred to as the process now. In other words, the process of bidding. What is said about it this time is that the process ties up real estate in prized urban locations until the outcome is known. The next sentence, the fourth one, is still about bidding, which is what the pronoun this is anaphorically referring to, referring back to it. What is said about it this time around? It is said that it can cost local economies millions of dollars of lost revenue from private developers who could have made use of the land, and that it can also mean that particular urban quarters lose their vitality due to the vacant lots. As we read the next sentence, the last sentence of this paragraph, we see that the subject is no longer bidding per se, but about the bidding city and private connections and opinions on government conduct. So the subject here is irrelevant to our search. What is said here is useless to our purpose as well. However, the last clause in brackets is a specific example of bidding done by Chicago City. This specific instance of bidding is irrelevant to our search because we are looking for a reference to bids in general, not any specific example. The whole of this last sentence is therefore of no use to our purpose. At this point, we now know that three things have been said about bids to become a host city or bidding to become a host city. Number one, that bids set most cities back $20 million. Number two, that bids or bidding officially takes 2 years for cities that make the shortlist, but that it takes up to a decade from initiation to announcement. And number three, that bids tie up real estate development, which results in loss of revenue for local economies and of vitality for particular urban centers. Only one of these three statements made about bids can be found in the list of endings as the correct answer. It is not possible for more than one of them to appear in the list of answers. Only one of them will appear. Now that we have read and understood everything said about bidding, where we find it, step 4 is now complete. It is now time for us to take step number 5, to go and read all the sentence endings to choose any option that matches any of the things said about bids to become a host city. We go to the list of sentence endings. We read through the list. No, on second thoughts, I'll just stop to give you 30 seconds to decide what the correct option is. You now have 30 seconds to choose your answer. Your time starts now. Time up. Did you choose option E? Option E is the correct answer if you did. Matching E with bids to become a host city will read as bids to become a host city can take up to 10 years to complete. This answer comes from the second point made about bids to become a host city in the paragraph we read. It says, most cities can expect to exhaust a decade working on their bid. A decade means 10 years. If you did not know that a decade means 10 years, your vocabulary may be very limited, seriously in need of expansion. Finally, we take the last step to write down E as our correct answer for question 14. That's it. You can watch this video multiple times to make sure you understand the procedure for answering this question type before proceeding to learn the next one, sentence completion. Alright, if you want to smash it in your IELTS test, please support this channel by clicking the subscribe button and by following our Facebook page. Thank you for watching this. I'll see you in the next one.